Thank you very much. Again, today's hearing is a continuation of a hearing for petition Z250068. The first hearing date was October 9, 2025. The second hearing date was November 19, 2025. Today's hearing date, time, and location were announced on the record at the last hearing date of November 19, 2025. Therefore, notice by publication, certified mail, and posting were not required for today's continuation. As we, at the last hearing, we'd had people ask questions, but we had asked for some testimony from the Department of Transportation. So first of all, for anyone who wasn't here previously, I'm going to have the zoning board members identify themselves and the township in which they reside, and then we'll start our hearing. So starting on my left.
Robert Cozen, Algonquin Township. Won't be heard.
Bill Kernick, Grafton Township.
Charlie Eldridge, Richmond Township.
I'm Linnea Kustra in Alden Township.
Vicki Gardner, Nunda Township.
Kurt Schnabel, Riley Township.
Jess Beverly, Door Township.
So Adam, do we have a member of the Transportation Department here to testify?
Yes, we do. Oh, boy. Yes, we do. We have two. What's that?
Okay, could you come up to the table? Oh, yes, yes. Before we start, Kim just reminded me, anyone who will be giving testimony today, asking questions, this is a quasi-judicial hearing, so rules of testimony apply. So I'll need to swear in anybody who's going to participate. So at this time, if you would like to participate in any of the proceedings, please raise your right hand. Do you affirm that the testimony you give today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Okay. Okay. So you want to take the microphone from right behind you, maybe, on that stand, sir? So if you listened to the last hearing, you know that the board has just had some concern and wanted some clarifications about the easement and the right-of-way and the type of driveway this would be and what might be required. If you could just go through that for us, and then if anyone has questions, we could deal with that at that time, please. So please identify yourself with the Department of
Surely.
Transportation.
My name's Keith McGraw. I'm a construction and permit engineer with the Division of Transportation.
A little closer, please, so we,
My name's Keith
That's
McGraw
better.
with the Division of Transportation. I'm a construction and permit engineer.
And I'm Joyce DeLong, the design manager for that unit.
okay, can you just address the issues that we have here?
Surely, the petitioner's parcels utilize a shared access between two other parcels to Greenwood Road, which is a county highway. I don't have the date of the original incorporation of the shared access, but they have a 33-foot ingress and egress easement to their parcel. So what we look at is traffic coming to and from the site, the change in traffic that's coming to the site, what kind of upkeep that's going to require from Greenwood Road, any potential backups to the roadway, et cetera. Normally, in an instance like this, we would require a right-of-way along the frontage. Since this parcel has no frontage to Greenwood Road, we're not requesting a right-of-way dedication for this. What else would you like me to address?
Well, we'll just have questions from the board regarding that. I'll start on my right, Ms. Beverly.
Thank you. So part of the reason why we asked you to come today was the memo that we received as part of this application indicated that the petitioner would need to get written permission from the easement owner in order to demonstrate egress and ingress. And there was some conflict as to whether that was accurate or not. Can you please clarify?
From our stance, he should get agreement from the two property owners that his ingress and egress crosses, just so they understand the increase in traffic of what's going on.
Would that be a requirement for the permit to be issued?
Would we require, I think we would require that, yes,
Thank you.
for our permit.
Mr. Schnabel, do you have any questions?
You mentioned the level and activity level of vehicles coming in and out. How closely did you look at that issue, and what findings did you have concerning that?
We requested a traffic memo or a traffic study. We've not received either yet, so we don't have any official numbers to go off of. We need that traffic memo to respond to.
And that would be whose responsibility?
The petitioner.
Understood. Has that been communicated back and forth since you've taken the time to look into this further?
It was in our initial review that went to staff plat review. Yes, sir.
And I'll just leave it at that for right now, and I'll pass along. Thank you.
Ms. Gartner?
Thank you. Have you dealt with any issues like this before, where an easement was used for a landlocked farm or business?
With McHenry County, no, ma'am, I've not. With a previous agency, yes, I have.
And how was that resolved?
The landowners had to work with the petitioner to coordinate their efforts, and everyone had to be kind of on the same page. So it was a shared responsibility, for lack of a better word, that just being a good neighbor, for whatever that's worth.
Okay, so was that just a handshake, a verbal agreement, or was
We
it documentation?
we had documentation at the point.
Okay.
So.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Eldridge?
Thank you. There is presently access for their agricultural operations there. What level of permit is presently on the site from your perspective?
From our perspective, it's an agricultural access for a farm. Over the years, no other permit that we know of has ever been applied for any change of use. Per ordinance, the change of use does require an access permit be obtained by the Division of Transportation, and we evaluate based on the traffic study what level of permitting we're looking for.
Is the present permit proper for the U-Pick operation and the other agritourism operations presently going on the site?
It probably predates our modern permitting procedures, so technically no, but it would be grandfathered in.
So if they simply wanted to continue the present agricultural use without a slaughterhouse, they would require no further permit. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
The easement is 2 rods, which is 33 feet, as I understand it, wide.
Yes, sir.
I understand you don't have a traffic study, but generally, is that sufficient width for a commercial ingress and egress?
I think we could work with that, definitely. We would want I would ask the access path, the driveway be widened enough so 2 vehicles could pass for the first 500 feet off of Greenwood Road. That way, if you have someone exiting the site and someone entering, we don't back up traffic onto the roadway and cause potential hazards or backups.
But my understanding is that would be to about 24 feet, is that correct?
Roughly, yes, sir.
Would you require that the easement be paved at any point?
We would require a hard surface that vehicles can navigate on for that first 500 feet. Beyond that, we wouldn't.
When you say hard surface, could that be gravel, or would
It
that?
could be, yes, sir.
Okay, so they wouldn't necessarily have to use asphalt or
sir.
concrete at any point, including, you wouldn't require a concrete apron?
Within the right-of-way, we would prefer an asphalt apron. Beyond that, once you cross the property line into the easement, no, we would not require asphalt or Portland cement concrete.
Okay, I think that's all I have for you. I'm going to have some questions for attorney.
Mr. Kernick?
Yes, I just have a few questions. As I understand your testimony, that if one of the owners who granted the easement did not agree or consent to the increased traffic, you would not issue the permit?
We'd have to take a harder look at the terms of the original access easement. I've not studied the original document. For life of me, I can't think of the date. I apologize. We'd have to look at the terms.
Back to either the early 1900s or late 1800s.
That's my understanding too. I just don't have the exact date in front of me.
And as I understand it, excuse me, sir, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
but
no,
I did.
my
Please
apologies.
finish what you were saying.
No, I was just saying that I don't have the exact date, but that time range is of that easement is what I know it to be.
Okay. And, I'm not here to put you on the spot
Mhm.
or anything, so please don't get nervous from any of my
Oh.
questions or take offense. You're not an attorney, are you?
No, sir.
You're not educated in the law, are you?
No, sir.
Regarding the requirement, as I understand it, just want to clarify it again. If one of the owners,
Be a little
how
closer
about
to you.
that? I'm not an engineer incidentally, or an electrician. If one of the owners whose property, I guess for lack of a better word, has granted the easement, has not consented to this use, am I understanding your testimony that it's the position of the department that you would not issue a permit?
We would have to take a hard stance of why we're issuing the permit. We'd look at any other alternatives to that easement. Their southern parcel does border a right-of-way to the east, so technically they do have an access possible, but we've not explored that. We're trying to work with the existing access as much as possible.
Well, I don't understand where you're saying you could, where there's other possible access.
The southern parcel does touch, I believe it's Pamela Road to the east.
Could
There's
you
a
go
stub.
up to the map maybe and point it out, sir?
I'll do my best.
It'd be to the subdivision to the east?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that's Pamela, Road. It's a stub roadway.
You'd explore that to see if it's adequate access to the property? I don't understand.
It's a public right-of-way, so they could gain access through that. But at this time, we're trying to work with the easement and keep all the neighbors happy and keep everyone moving forward, so.
Okay. And if the attorney for the applicant or petitioner took the legal position that it was not required to get consent, that the owner was not required to get consent of the owners along that easement, you would consult with the state's attorney to see what their position is.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, I have nothing further.
Mr. Cozen?
Thank you. I don't need that mic. Is Pamela Road on the plat to the east a dedicated right-of-way?
From our records, yes, sir, it is. It's a local road.
And who has the maintenance responsibility for Pamela Road, as you understand it?
I believe that's the Village of Wonder Lake, I believe.
So that is their road as you?
Yes, sir.
Going back to the description of the needs for the easement, so there's a likelihood of a 24-foot wide travel way. Is that
For the first several hundred foot, yes, just so, and the reason we require that is, again, if people are leaving the site and coming on site, we don't want to back up onto the county highway system.
So with 33 feet to work with, that leaves about 4.5 feet on either side of the traveled way?
Roughly.
And would that be adequate for any ditches and utilities on either side of the roadway?
I don't know that there's a utility easement or a drainage easement within this. I believe,
Would
my
you-
understanding is this is an egress and egress and ingress easement only. I'd have to look further into the document to see if it allows for utilities or drainage.
Well, drainage in terms of the sheet flow off the roadway,
I'd have to look into the language of the easement further.
on whether
So-
or not it could have ditches as well as a traveled way?
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions.
And my only question then is, with the change in use, would this be called a major access versus a minor access?
I need to see the traffic study to determine that. The types of vehicles entering and leaving the site, the number of vehicles, and the change, so.
Okay. All right,
Madam Chair, if I could just follow up, please.
certainly.
The traffic study.
Again, Mr. Kernick.
Thank you. The traffic study, tell me a little bit about what you would,
microphone.
tell me a little bit about what you would require as far as a traffic study was concerned.
Sure.
Given the use that's being requested.
So we want to see the number of existing vehicles entering and exiting the site daily, the proposed new use of the access, how many more vehicles are accessing the site daily, the types of vehicles that are coming in. Are we bringing in larger trucks to bring in chickens or whatever, or product to and from the site? Or is it just the ag tourism of the apple picking business? Just the number of trips daily is the biggest thing we're looking at. Number of trips during peak hours, which are typically 6 to 9 a.m. and 3 to 6 p.m., are considered in our norm the peak hours. That's when more people are on the roadway. We utilize things like that to determine left and right turn lanes, widening access points, et cetera.
Now, perhaps this is a question that I'll later pose to staff, but as I understand it, should the conditional use be granted, there would not be any limitation imposed, such as you can only slaughter chickens 1 day a week. Am I correct? What I would like to know is, when you talk about a traffic study, are you going to be looking at the possible traffic in and out of this property,
What are the average daily trips, correct?
based upon what the owner tells you his plans are? Or
What he tells his engineer, and his engineer
Okay,
summarizes in a memo or a study, correct?
so not based necessarily upon the possible operations or the extent of the operations of the slaughterhouse. What I'm driving at is, if the owner says, I'm only going to operate 1 day a week, is your traffic study going to be based upon his operations only 1 day a week? Or is the traffic study going to be based upon what the potential could be?
It's always potential. We
So
we
we
want
look,
him to grow, we want him to be successful. If he's operating 1 day a week today, we don't want to limit him to that
okay,
5 years down the road without coming back to see all of us again, so.
so would you ask for a traffic study based upon an operation of 5 days a week?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And to follow up with that, then again, this is Linnea Kustra. The types of vehicles like to pump the waste material and all that, those heavier types of vehicles, those make a difference as well, right? If
Yes,
they're
ma'am.
three-axle
It
trucks.
is the axle spacing and the turning movements and exactly how much they back up.
And then if it's determined that a major access is required, then what difference does that make in that driveway?
It depends on what the study shows us. Here, we're fairly limited. We can't really fit turn lanes in because of a limited right-of-way, because the petitioner doesn't possess right-of-way to donate, or to dedicate. We'd have to look at the study and see exactly how many vehicles were coming, et cetera. It's hard to answer that question without hard numbers in front of me,
I understand,
so.
yeah. Mr. Schnabel, you have another question?
It was to be about the 3-axle vehicles, just to start back there for just a second. We know for a fact he's going to be bringing in pumper trucks. Those are going to be 3-axle vehicles. Think, those of you with a septic system, think of a septic truck. That would be probably even maybe a smaller version of what we could be talking about here. And I want to get back to your point about the frontage. If all of a sudden our heavy vehicle capacity increases from, say, 1 a week to 3 or 4 different types a week, if he had frontage, would you prefer turn lanes for that?
It depends, it
Entrance.
depends on the actual numbers that were given. It's hard to speculate 1 or 3 or 5. We need to look at the number of turning movements versus, for like a left turn lane, the number of turning movements coming into the site versus the oncoming traffic determines if a turn lane is warranted or not. Similarly, for a right turn lane, the number of turning movements versus the traffic with the flow.
Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. A lot of people here have taken pictures of this driveway entrance, and there is a curve involved. It's a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit there. These trucks that would be pulling in and out, there were pictures of one going halfway into the oncoming lane to make a right turn to get up the driveway. That, to me, seems less than sufficient. Same thing if there's a truck exiting, people come around the curve and then boom, all of a sudden the truck is there trying to accelerate in front of them. It would seem to me at least appropriate to consider turn lanes if this entryway were to be approved. But could you please pin down for us just a little more than general theory on what kind of counts you would expect to see before the next level of requirement would kick into effect, so we can have some idea besides generalities that don't tell me too much, please.
Would you like to?
The 50 is the truck or the.
50.
Yeah.
So more than 50 trips a day generates a major access. At that point, we're looking at our turn lanes required. There are specific numbers depending on the speed, depending on the traffic, the ADT of the road, the average daily traffic of the road, and then the number of turning movements in any given hour that we look at. I'd have to pull the charts and sit down and work with them to show you exactly. We've not seen any study to compare yet. So I don't have the charts memorized, so.
The county requires turn lanes for 50 or more trucks a day. Can you think of a gravel pit that has turn lanes?
We don't require.
We don't require 50 more, that's a major access point.
Yeah.
So if there are 50 within an hour, depending on the conditions, that could be correct.
So your 50 an hour is more or less the requirement?
No, sir.
Okay.
That's
Just an example.
an example of what we're talking about. So
What would a minimum be, would you say?
I'd have to go back to where I don't have my charts with me. I apologize.
All right, I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you.
We really need the traffic study to be able to evaluate the
Again,
numbers.
please,
Joyce
again.
DeLong, we
Thank you.
really need the traffic study to evaluate the numbers. And it's not just the numbers going in and out of the development, it's the numbers that are currently on the road. You could have a multitude of vehicles coming in and out of an entrance, and if there's no opposing traffic, then there is no danger. But the more traffic there is on the county road, that does kick in instances where we need to evaluate the appropriateness of a left and right turn lane. We also need to take a look at what we have for existing right-of-way. Just because we can't get right-of-way doesn't mean there may not be room for a left and or a right turn lane. Correct.
Mr. Eldridge.
Yeah. Very close to this entrance, the speed limit goes from 40 or 45 miles an hour up to 55. Might one of the things you would consider when you're permitting this, adjusting the location of where it goes up to 55? Or adjusting the speed limit generally in front of this easement?
We don't adjust speed limits based on developments. If I do that here, I've opened up a can of worms across the county where everyone wants to lower their design speeds and lower their thresholds for requirements. And that's the county engineer would be greatly opposed to that. If the existing conditions warrant a reduced speed, then our traffic engineer does do studies periodically throughout the year, but we don't do that for developments.
And even the study, this is Joyce DeLong again, even the study itself does not guarantee that a posted speed limit will be reduced. It goes to the Transportation Committee and then to the county board. So we, within the DOT, do not have the power to reduce a speed limit. We make recommendations which may or may not be followed.
But you could, if it were appropriate, make such a recommendation.
If the speed study recommended,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Any other questions for these people? Will you be here the rest of the day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if the public has any questions for you or staff, you would be available?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
I've got a couple of questions.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. McKenna.
Terry McKenna on behalf of the petitioner. Mr. McGraw, is a traffic study always required for a development such as this?
To determine, at least a traffic memo to determine the number of trips entering and exiting the site daily, yes.
Okay, and isn't that part of the permitting process? So before you'd issue permits or before the county would issue permits, that would have to be resolved?
Correct, yes.
So that's not necessarily an issue for approval of the use, it would be an issue for
Correct.
granting
Correct.
the permits, okay. And I know you testify that you're not an attorney, but are you aware that an easement is a property right?
I am.
It's not a favor that's given by property owners?
Correct.
It's not something that can be revoked by the property owners? So the
Correct.
property owners don't have a consent component to allow somebody to continue to use an easement?
It depends on the way the easement's written. It depends on the amount of traffic generated. I think we spoke in our original discussion, if your client were to build a 110 subdivision lot, or lot subdivision through here, 110 homes using this easement, that would be excessive for the intent of the access easement.
I guess we can leave that to the state's attorney's office then. I respectfully disagree with that conclusion.
Well, I think he has a few more questions.
At what point, is there a minimum that a minimum number of vehicles per day that would trigger the requirement from I think you said a traffic memo to a traffic study?
Each individual traffic engineer will tell you a different number.
Okay.
I hesitate to ask for traffic memos because oftentimes they lead to traffic studies. I don't know the number of vehicles entering and exiting the site every day. Your best suggestion is work with the traffic engineer, and they can tell you, we think a memo will suffice, or let's go ahead. I don't want him to spend good money after bad preparing a memo, and then we determine we need a study and more money's having to be spent.
Well, petitioners testified that there really isn't that any notable change in the traffic to the site. We've testified that there's going to be a couple of potential customers coming to pick up orders. There's a pumping truck that we expect to be out there about once every other month.
Okay.
So given the testimony that we've heard, does that sound more like a traffic memo to you or a traffic study to you?
I'd still refer it to the.
I'd refer it to your traffic engineer for.
Okay, all right, very good.
If nothing else, we're establishing a baseline if he grows in the future, because all growth from the initial inception of this farm to today has never been documented. So we'd like to see the documentation just to establish our new baseline for what's happening here. And hopefully, if he grows and continues to grow in the future, we have something to fall back on and say, here's the measured growth.
Gotcha. Thank you. One last question. You mentioned Pamela Road to the east. Just in your opinion, if traffic was coming to this property through Pamela Road to the east, would that create a bigger hardship on the surrounding property owners than us continuing to access the property from Greenwood Road?
That's completely outside my realm of expertise.
Good enough. Thank you very much.
Mr. Bernie, you had some questions? You need a microphone, Mr. Bernie. Please speak into the microphone.
All right. Mr. McGraw. Is it McGraw?
McGraw.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Quick draw, McGraw?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Do you know, you may not know this, but the Zoning Board of Appeals is obliged to find whether adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. And the seventh standard is that adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress. That cannot be determined until a traffic study has been prepared and analyzed by your department. Would you agree?
I would agree.
And you had mentioned that there was a change in the rules where you thought maybe the pick and save or whatever it's called might have been grandfathered in before you started to have a study or need an access permit for a change in the use of an easement.
I think you're talking about the U-Pick.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes. Do you recall that testimony now that the chairman has straightened it out?
What I said was the operations of this farm have changed since its original inception to today's. Some of those changes could have predated our current ordinance.
Okay, when was your current ordinance adopted that would have required an access permit for a change in use?
2007.
Okay, and so if the UPIC was implemented, installed after 2007, it would have needed an access permit from your department. Is that correct?
It should have been submitted to the DOT for review. Yes, sir.
And in your review, no such permit request was received from this property owner. Is that correct?
I found no records. No, sir.
And you indicated that the road, the width of this access road should be increased if it's to accommodate the uses that are proposed here. Do I have that right?
For commercial access, yes. So we would like to see the width of the driving surface so two vehicles can pass safely without veering off into grass or a soft texture.
And I think this is a legal question, which we'll leave to the state's attorney, but again, that is an issue of widening the driving surface on this easement that has to be approved by the owner of the easement and cannot just be widened by Sergi or his people. Do you know?
I don't know the answer that the owners have to approve the widening.
That's why I said we'll leave that to the state's attorney. And then when you are evaluating the amount of traffic that is being generated by a use like this, there is a manual. Is it like called the ITE?
There is, yes, sir.
All right, and so you could look at the ITE manual as a very neutral kind of a manual to see what kind of traffic and the types of traffic that would be generated from this use. Is that correct?
That's what the traffic engineer should be using to set his baseline with.
So it's not Sergi's subjective view on what's going to be generated, but you're looking at a standardized manual that sets the kinds of traffic and the amount of traffic generated. Is that correct?
It's used as the guideline for what they're going to come up with. His traffic engineer would work directly with him and get a feel for how many employees, deliveries, et cetera. And using the IT manual, that's their baseline, and then they dial it in more for his specific use.
Thank you, Mr. McGraw, and happy holiday to you.
Thank you. You as well.
Actually, I'd like to.
Mr. McKenna, you'd like some follow-up questions?
Sorry about that. Mr. McGraw, just real quick, is it uncommon for you to get traffic studies after particular uses have been proposed?
No, it's not uncommon.
Okay, so is it fair to say then that there are petitions that come before this board, get approved, having met the standards, including the standards that Mr. Burney mentioned, prior to you receiving a traffic study?
I would say yes, there have been.
So then it is possible for the board to determine whether those standards have been met without a petitioner having produced a traffic study?
For their purposes, I would assume.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay. So does the staff have any questions of the testimony?
Staff has no questions.
Okay, so we'll move on to if any member of the public has questions on this new testimony, or if you didn't get to ask questions previously, you'll have the opportunity to do so. Mr. Burney is here representing some objectors. He will have no time limit. Because he's representing a lot of people, if he has any questions of the petition. But for any member of the public that would like to ask questions before he has his opportunity, I will give you each 3 minutes. I'll use my phone. So I ask you not to be repetitive if a question has been asked and answered so that we can move on. And then just to be respectful. You have a question, Mr. Eldridge?
Would like to ask Mr. McKenna a couple of questions.
Okay, so after Mr. Eldridge gets his opportunity to ask Mr. McKenna questions, we'll have the public being able to come up. I'll ask you to come up on my right so we can move through as quickly as possible. We'll put the microphone back in the stand there. You'll need to give your name and address. You can't ask the board questions right now, sir, but you'll be able to come up and ask questions of the testimony later. Again, your name and address, and then I'll use my timer on my phone. So right now, I'll turn it over to Mr. Eldridge for follow-up questions.
Yes, Mr. McKenna, we're back to the easement, I think. And it is, I want to clarify petitioner's position with regard to some legal matters. And if I'd be interested in Mr. Burney's view of them too, if I'm allowed to inquire or if he'd like to comment. I gather from the tenor of your questions that it is your position that petitioner has a right to use this for any form of egress and ingress and egress contemplated by this conditional use without getting any approval from the current landowners for whom this easement is a dominant use. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And so you would, it would be your interpretation of the law that were there a court proceeding to define the use of allowed on the easement, that the views of the current owner of the underlying land would not be relevant, that it simply would be a matter of interpreting what the easement itself said, that there wouldn't really be any attempt to look at the original intent either, because those people are long dead. Is that correctly state your position?
Yes, oftentimes in these grants of easement, the grant is made for an even greater restriction. So for example, I give you an easement over my property so that you can access your field with farm equipment or something like that. There's no such restriction in any of the documents that create and then later in 1956, basically the parties came together and said, okay, this is where this easement is going to be, where it's existing. So the only language that is in these agreements is, ingress and egress to and from Greenwood Road. The right was reserved by the original property owner back in 1896, probably because the property was landlocked at that time. The subdivision to the east came in obviously much later, and then that's when that stub road was there, probably with an eye towards future development of this property. But there's nothing in the easement agreements or the deeds that created the easement that in any way restricts the use other than to ingress and egress.
Okay, and, but once again, the current owners of the underlying land have said that they don't approve of the use of the easement for the purposes of the proposed conditional use. It is your position that that opposition simply has no relevance, is that correct?
That's correct. I guess a similar example may be a pipeline easement. If somebody buys a piece of property with a pipeline company wants to come in and put in another line. The underlying property owner might not want that second pipe there, but the easement was granted. The pipeline company has that right. Just, it's no different in this case.
I would argue at least that the pipeline and rail easements are somewhat more forceful than some other kinds of easements.
It's a property right like any other. So it's a property right that is owned by the owner of the dominant parcel, the parcel that's served by the easement.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And as a follow-up to that, I would say, so if he wanted this slaughterhouse 5 days a week with retail, it wouldn't make any difference. Easement is an easement.
Correct.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if I could just follow up.
Sure, Mr. Kernick.
Since we're going down this rabbit hole, do you have legal authority that supports your position, not with respect to pipeline to underground easements for underground utilities, but supports your position for access to property?
I think that's pretty settled law.
I just asked.
Yeah, I don't have anything here with me, no.
Okay. Have you done any research before you sat down here today?
Yes.
Okay. And your conclusion?
My conclusion is that the easement was granted, and the easement is a property right that allows access to and from Greenwood Road.
I'm sorry, I should have limited my question. And your conclusion is that there is legal authority that expressly applies to easements of this nature, not to underground, not to utilities or easements to install underground utilities?
Correct.
Okay. For whatever that minute's worth.
Maybe when you give your comments in your testimony.
Would you like me to wait?
Yeah, could you just wait? Yeah, because we'll just do questions now. Okay, so now public has any opportunity. We'll start with questions coming up here to my right. Anybody that would like to ask a question, please come on up.
Mr. Chairman, this is about the testimony from last meeting where Sergi was testifying.
Mr. Burney, this is about any testimony for this petition. Okay.
My question is to the traffic study.
First, your name and address, sir.
Richard Wazalewski, 9390 Rachel Drive, Wonder Lake, Illinois, 60097.
Okay, go ahead.
A question is to the traffic study people. Will this easement have to be widened from its current condition to account for any additional vehicle traffic?
Oh,
You can come up if you want.
let's, take this one over here.
We need more mics.
Our recommendation is for any commercial access to widen to the point that two vehicles can safely pass for a set throat distance. And nominally, it's usually 500 feet off the roadway. It's for ingress and egress, so we don't back up traffic onto the roadway, or in worst-case scenarios, and I always hate to use this instance, if there's an emergency and people are mass exiting the site and emergency access has to get on, there's not that conflict.
Okay, thank you. To the petitioner, is there a restriction within your requirement to get this approval that you will operate 1 day a week only? And is there a penalty if you do not?
Yes.
We have not asked to limit basically the testimony was given that we intended to operate 1 day a week. We've not asked that there be a restriction on the number of days. However, if there is a restriction that's imposed by the ordinance and we violate that restriction, then we risk, or we would potentially lose the conditional use permit. So
What is
that's the hammer
restriction?
for us.
What is the restriction?
Those restrictions haven't been determined yet.
Let me see. Does this board, I won't ask the board that. So you can do your operation 7 days a week if you choose to, according to the petition you've submitted, although you're just saying you're going to do one. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you very much.
Michelle Van Loo, 3735 Twin Oaks. It kind of startled me a little bit when you mentioned that there's an alternative egress to the property off of Pamela Lane. Who would be responsible for the road upkeep? And who would be responsible for all the vibration that would cause and the erosion of our little ditches?
That'd be up to the, whoever maintains the roadway. I believe that's Wonder Lake, correct?
Okay, so if Wonder Lake would then have to grant that permission, correct, not the county?
It's a public right-of-way, so anyone has the right to use a public right-of-way.
But then wouldn't someone have to approve it going through a subdivision?
That'd be up to local ordinances, but typically I've not found.
So
in
Wonder
my
Lake would
history.
have that responsibility, not the McHenry County Board, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Steve Weir, 3475 Twin Oaks Drive. My concern is this latest,
Question.
yes, a question is, how do you propose to get around the 10,000-pound weight limit on Pamela Drive? And how do you propose to gain that access through roads that are not in the county's jurisdiction, but that of Wonder Lake? And as the person that actually was the public works director when those roads were built, those roads were never designed to carry commercial traffic. And
Okay, let him answer the question then.
County ordinance does dictate that access shall be gained over the lesser traveled of two roads. So Pamela Drive, by essence, is lesser traveled than Greenwood. So the local road is the preferred route. It's not up to us to determine weight limits on that road, et cetera. If the village puts weight limits on the road, that's between them and the petitioner.
okay, the weight limit is on the road. It's been on the road for 25 years or longer. Like I said, I was intimately involved in this process. And
Okay, you can make a
does the
statement
county,
later.
yes,
Yeah,
does
make
the
your question.
county prefer to run equipment and trucks through a subdivision that's got children? And first of all, the roads are, from what you said, the roads aren't even wide enough in that subdivision to carry that. I believe, if memory serves me, there are only
Okay, a
22
question,
feet.
sir. You're
It
making
is a question.
statements. Yeah.
Can you repeat the question? The actual question?
I believe you said that the roads have to be a certain width to carry commercial traffic.
I didn't mention the width of the roads in the subdivision. No, sir.
Okay. It doesn't sound like a logical answer to me, but thank you. Oh, and Merry Christmas,
Okay.
everybody.
Next person.
My name is my name is Jacob. Last name is Trom. I live at 9433 Rachel Drive in Wonder Lake, 60097. I have a little bit of a statement that goes to the question. So it refers to the prior statements. Mr. McKenna had stated last meeting that there were no restrictions placed and that the same situation with any easement may be granted or reserved in this case, and that's quoted. In the 1935 agreement between the landowners, it states, and I quote, same rights and privileges as to thrashing of grains raised on the land for all future owners. My question is, how is this traffic and this increase in traffic anything like thrashing of grains raised on the lands? And I know Mr. McKenna or the study guy can.
I think you misread the agreement. What the agreement did is it reserved the right-of-way and also the right to place a threshing machine on the property. The threshing machine was new at that time to thresh grain.
But it says rights and privileges as to thrashing of grains. How is this thrashing of grain? Thrashing of grains is, to me, harvesting of crops. This is not harvesting of crops, am I correct?
No, it's
wrong?
not. Thrashing of grain is not the harvesting of crops. Threshing of grain is separating the grain, the wheat from the chaff, if you will. It's a machine that they would dump their crop into, and it would vibrate and shake it out. It's completely different. And the right-of-way is not limited to the threshing of grain. It's in addition to the threshing of grain.
Well, that's not what it says.
Well, again, that easement agreement has been submitted to the ZBA as part of the petition.
Okay, and then another question I have is, with regards to the UPIC, the petitioner stated that he has 100 to 200 visitors per day, 50 to 60 vehicles. How does that go to this as well, with regards to the studies?
It doesn't, the UPIC operations are completely separate and apart and have nothing to do with this petition.
We're talking about the easement, so we're talking about traffic on the easement. And I'm asking the traffic study guy, sorry, Mr. McGraw, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, I apologize.
Quite all right.
If there's already been an increase and there's been no permit, isn't that already an issue?
I don't know when the UPIC started.
About 2021, I believe, 22, somewhere in there.
We'd have to go back and consult the county engineer to get his view on this. A lot of times these are yes, it's in violation, but do we, what's the word I'm looking for, Joyce?
We would take it in consideration.
Yeah. We'll take it into consideration with all things.
Okay.
So.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, turn that mic down so you can speak. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Michelle Young. I live at 9295 Rachel Drive in Wonder Lake. And I do have a couple of questions for the petitioner. I'd like to know what your plan is for pest control.
There is a special program designed by USDA for pest control, the production plants.
And what is that?
You can read it, Google USDA pest control guidance, and you will read that's a 3-page document, which I don't have today, but if you need it, I can email you if you provide your email.
Does it involve chemicals, poisons, any of those things?
Yes, there is some poison for the pests, definitely.
Okay, do you know what HACCP is, HACCP?
Yes, I do develop that myself.
Okay. What is the process you're going to use for slaughter? Is it humane?
Yes, definitely.
What is the process?
That's a 5-page document, which is I can email. I cannot read you all documents now because you got only 3 minutes, and I don't have the document with me today.
So does it involve stunning?
What does it involve?
Stunning of the animals?
Yes, it is.
And how do you guarantee that they're not
This is
sick?
about land use, ma'am.
That's
This is
not
about
I
land
guarantee.
use.
There is going to be inspector from USDA, which is going to monitor process, and he going to supervise and guarantee humane
I thought we could
process.
ask any questions about
Questions regarding his testimony and how he slaughters his animal following the rules. I mean, this is about a land use, not about, you know, how he would slaughter his animals. Anything, any questions you have about the land use? Fair game. Yes, go ahead, sir.
My name is James Ferretti, 9340 Rachel Drive. Quick questions for McGraw. Nice. Just for clarification, it's not 50 trucks, it's 50 vehicles, correct?
50 trips.
Trips? Okay.
That's ingress and egress.
Doesn't matter if it's trucks or cars. Okay, so, okay, perfect. For Sergey, quick question. I know you guys were talking about the house that's on site there. I'm assuming you live there, is that correct?
No, I do not live there.
Oh. Okay, I'm sorry, I was under the impression that you live there. That's how you'd hear the audible alarm, the local alarm, is that correct then? You said if there's a spill or if there's a release of chemicals, you'd hear an audible alarm.
If you recover the conversation with health department, they said the alarm can get on only at the time of processing where it's supposed to be present all the time. The alarm cannot go on if no people present and doing nothing at the plant.
So there's no one present when you shut down, there's no one on site, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And there's no monitoring system at all?
No.
So if there's a release, someone leaves a valve open or water's overflowing,
then
we won't, I'm still talking, I'm
Yes.
sorry. You know, we would never know, you wouldn't know until, again, if you do 1 day a week goes by and at that point it's already contaminated.
I'm not technician from health department. You can ask that question to them and they will answer to you.
I'm asking you as
I'm just farmer. who
Okay.
gonna process
Real
it.
quick,
Yes.
we talked about smell last time, or you talked about smell, and you're going to mitigate that with a P-trap. Are you planning on putting solid waste down a P-trap? Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. If you would listen the last conversation with health department, they clearly explain the process. All solid waste will be stored at the temperature control room and will hold by the rendering company.
Oh, so there's a third. There's a septic field, there's liquid waste that will be pumped, and then there's a solid waste container as well?
Correct, yes.
Oh, okay. That wasn't on any of the drawings or anything like that.
Yeah, it is. 8
we
by
didn't
8
see
in
it.
the left corner. Mhm.
Okay. And then in your drawings, you did have windows that were open. I know we asked this in the last hearings. I just want to make sure I asked again. Are those windows always closed or are they open?
They have to be closed.
Okay, because the last time you did state under oath that they would be open.
The windows has no shuttle. That's like a glass, like when you see behind the board. That's regular windows.
Okay,
why they have to be open? The windows like regular windows.
Okay, so just make sure you're incorrect the first time you stated under oath. You're correct this time, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, because like I said, we've reviewed all transcripts and have all this
You
documented
can do
for
it
you.
as many as you.
All right, and then real quick, we have a very short period of time here. Are you aware there are children that live at this site?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
David Caio, 3915 Crabapple Lane, Wonder Lake. Mr. Sergey, you claim to be a man of the community, and I'm just curious how you can claim that with all this opposition to everything that you're doing on this farm, with all the community outreach, all these hearings, all the people signing petitions.
The community been misled just with couple guys who misrepresent the facts about this processing room.
There's 800
The people
signatures.
doesn't know the fact, or they do not want to hear and see those facts. They twist it to their knowledge and just misleading people.
Really doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, in the last hearing, you stated that you need this to survive, the slaughterhouse to help your business to survive, right?
Correct.
So how is business going now? You have 3 stores and you're opening up 2 more, which would probably lead to a surplus of profits if you're able to open up a store in, where's it, Bloomingdale and Wheeling coming up soon?
Yes, sir.
So business must be doing okay then if you are able to open up 2 more stores when you already have 3. So you're increasing your stores by 66%, but you
Let
need
him
the
answer the
slaughterhouse to
question.
survive. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, what is the question?
So you said you
If
need
my
the slaughterhouse
business doing
to-
okay? Yes,
to-
definitely. Our business doing great, and we would like to increase our business to serve local community.
Right, so you do this for profit then, correct?
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. So the slaughterhouse is for profit, and then you're going to have to, slaughter more and more animals to feed these, coming up to be 5 stores, right? So maybe one day won't be enough, and then we'll
Question?
have to increase that. Is that correct?
What is the question?
You're going to have to increase your slaughter production to feed 5 stores.
Possible.
Possible, okay. So you are advertising fresh rabbit meat on the internet as well. You have advertised, so we'd like to know, what are all the animals you plan on slaughtering? Because you
That's
claim
in our
you're-
petition, poultry and pigs.
Okay, but you also said turkeys last time, you also said ducks, which the
Absolutely.
attorney said were the same thing.
We are
You
full-
advertise rabbit, hold on a sec, please. You advertise rabbit meat. You sell cattle, you sell beef, yet you want a slaughterhouse that sells USDA beef, but yet you're not going to slaughter cattle there that live behind the slaughterhouse. Does any of your slaughterhouse friends that you toured their facilities do the same thing? Have cattle, not slaughter them, but sell them?
Okay, now let him answer the
Thank
question.
you.
Yes, thank you. We are, beside of farming, we are full processed butcher shop, and we reselling meats from another farms as well, from another processors.
Right. But you're not going to slaughter cows that you raise on your own
No,
land behind your own slaughterhouse?
not at this place.
Okay, and then you claimed last time this is going to cost you $250,000 to build your slaughterhouse. A simple Google search says a 5,000 square foot slaughterhouse would be at least $2 to $3.5 million.
That's only your opinion.
That's not an opinion.
We got
that's a
different
fact.
numbers.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Next person.
Thank you. Mary Bishop, 10418 Arabian Trail in Thoroughbred Estates. My first question is concerning last month you stated that there would be no effect on surrounding properties from your slaughterhouse. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you have evidence for that in the form of reports or studies? I couldn't find any.
I don't have any studies or reports.
So that is simply your opinion
Same as your opinions.
and all of the reports and studies, yes. Do you still maintain that dead animals, if they die in a slaughterhouse, produce no odor?
Absolutely, there is no odor.
Can you tell me why the larger slaughterhouses will spend over $100,000 on odor mitigation if for an odor that you say doesn't even exist?
I'm not aware that.
They do.
I'm not planning to process commercial slaughterhouse, and I do need to know their requirements and regulations.
Are you aware that when you are looking for a location for a slaughterhouse, when you do your research, one of the criteria is the prevailing wind direction? Why would that be if there isn't an odor?
That's not applicable in my case. Too small for it.
No, any size slaughterhouse. That's what the research says.
That's your opinion.
No, that's the research. And lastly, you had mentioned as one of your main motivations to be humane to the chickens. Are you aware that stress can and has been measured in chickens and other animals on the way to slaughter?
Definitely.
And that those reports and studies have found that if the travel time is less than 3 hours, the vast majority of the stress is due to loading and unloading, and the travel time does not matter as long as it's under 3 hours?
Not applicable in my case.
This is
because they're
really
gonna
about land use, ma'am.
Well, he had said that he's traveling 1.5 hours now, and that's one of his motivations.
That's
He had
correct.
stated that last month.
I see what you're asking.
Yeah, and so I don't understand that motivation at all. 'Cause the facts don't back it up. No. Thank you.
I'm Elaine Barron. I live at 4702 West Shore Drive in Wonder Lake. And my questions have to do with his experience in running a slaughterhouse. Who's going to be in charge of the day-to-day operation there?
I will.
And will you be on site at all hours of the operation?
Yes.
What training or experience is needed to run a slaughterhouse?
Life experience. I've been working on dairy farm for 16 years. I was milking cows. Right now I'm working with USDA inspected facility where we produce sausages. I took numerous classes in UW, University in Wisconsin.
But how
So
is
I got-
milking
I- I've been
cows?
I've been trained in all hazard plants and all regulated for slaughtering and all requirement from USDA.
And I'm sorry, could you repeat that you've been trained in what?
Hazard plan the previous person were asking for.
Okay, what kind of training are your employees going to have?
USDA inspector will provide training right on at the plant.
Is there any state or federal requirement for you or your employees to receive training in new and updated procedures? And if so, how often?
They will provide the guidance on all requirements.
The state or the government would let you know?
Federal, USDA will provide all necessary guidance for the training of employees.
Okay, do you know how often, in general?
Wherever new guidance coming up, they will provide that information for us.
Okay. So currently, do any of your employees have any training or experience in working in a slaughterhouse?
No.
And how many employees do you expect to have?
4.
And do you have a plan in place in case of an emergency at the slaughterhouse?
Not yet. There is no building, so no plan.
It's what?
There is no building, so no plan. If we will build the building, there is going to be plan in place.
Okay, and you will have that.
Yes.
But wouldn't it be prudent to have an idea of what is needed before you build a slaughterhouse? What is expected or what might
I
be
know
required?
what is needed, but I don't need to represent it now while the building is not there.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Renee Trojan, 9210 Red Barn Drive, Wonder Lake. My question is for the petitioner. So how many properties do you own where you will be transporting your chickens or livestock to the specific slaughterhouse proposed in Wonder Lake?
Another property on Greenwood Road.
Okay, just one other property?
Yes.
And where will you be keeping the chickens?
Right now, they live at 3712 on
Okay.
Greenwood Road.
So are they free range or do you have a chicken coop?
In wintertime, they are in barn. In summer, in chicken coop outside.
Okay, and then how many chickens do you plan on having?
1,500,
1,500?
2,000.
And
for the
will you
season.
need to build a larger chicken house or barn to house the 1,500?
No, we already have the barn.
This is about the slaughterhouse, not about any other
Yeah,
agricultural
and I'm trying
buildings.
to determine how many trucks will be coming in and out from
The-
this other property.
The barn already built on 3712 and already functional. I can show you video and pictures where my chicken lives right now.
Okay, so do you have proper ventilation?
Yes, absolutely. They're survive. They're alive, so they're good.
Okay, because I know chicken houses can produce
This is
a lot
not
of.
about his chicken house. This is only about the slaughterhouse. Your
Okay.
questions have to be regarding this property and this use here.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Hello, Andrea Zinga, 9345 Ryan Court in Wonder Lake, 60097. A direct question to the petitioner about the slaughterhouse. Will it be necessary to build larger facilities for the number of chickens you plan to slaughter at this slaughterhouse? Than you have now, a larger chicken
No,
house, a larger chicken coop?
We got plenty buildings now to support up to 3,000 heads on our farm already.
And how many chickens are there right now?
1,500.
So you would be doubling the number of chickens.
There is plenty room for 3,000, yes.
Have you owned or operated a slaughterhouse since the last time you testified here?
No,
Have you been trained specifically in the operations of a slaughterhouse, not just corollary courses?
not yet. I have
Okay.
not been trained.
Not yet. Your employees have not been trained?
No.
And I have one more question, and that is, how can you, with multiple properties in multiple locations, tell us that you're going to be on site every single day in Wonder Lake?
That's easy because I got management on another properties. I can be at that location where I need to be at that day.
And how many hours a day would you expect to be there?
8 hours at least.
8 hours a day at the Wonder Lake facility?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Hi, David Griffith, 3670 Twin Oaks Drive, Wonder Lake. And Mr. McGaw, can you help clear something up? Is a permit required for UPIC?
With a change of use that came from the original farm to that, there should have been a permit required.
Should have been, in his past,
If it came after our ordinance, yes. there
Into
should-
your
there
ordinance
should have
and-
been- There should have been a permit pulled, yes.
okay, so to the petitioner, how many years have you been running UPIC without a permit?
5 years.
5 years, okay, so, all right, thank you.
Linda Heimbaugh, 3920 Greenwood Road, the Village of Greenwood. Mr. McGraw, in your opinion, knowing the location of the easement entrance, do you think this is the appropriate, would it be appropriate to have a slaughterhouse up at the end of the easement there, using the easement entrance for ingress and egress?
That's really all outside my realm of expertise. We look at the ingress and egress to the site, the road conditions, the safety, line of sight safety.
Correct.
I have not done a line of sight study out there or any studies yet. I've received nothing to warrant those studies.
Okay. Mr. McKenna, you've mentioned the 1956 agreement. Do you know the reason for the agreement?
I believe the recitals state that they wanted to clarify the location of the easement.
That is incorrect. Would you like me to tell you? Because I have all the documentation pertaining to that particular easement because I happen to be the owner of the easement.
I understand, and I believe that there was a Heimbaugh that signed that agreement
That is
as
correct.
well.
Those were my in-laws.
Okay. It says, whereas said instruments did not specifically describe said right-of-way, and then the agreement goes on to state that the right-of-way will exist on the existing road. So that was my take, is that they
The
wanted to
reason-
clarify that.
Okay, there have been several other occupants at that location. From Chess Records, the Kiefers, who were the ones that sold it to them. The Turners bought this. The title company required that agreement, and that was the only reason that my in-laws signed that agreement for the Turners. Just so you know, and I have all the documentation, the legal documentation. Okay, I understand. Okay, Sergey, when you purchased the property in 2019, were you aware that this was pretty much, you know, your landlocked property and that you needed to use the easement to get for ingress and egress?
Yes, I was aware.
Do you recall contacting my husband and I regarding the easement? Regarding how narrow it was?
No, not remember.
Well, you did. And we told you we weren't willing to sacrifice any of our farmland so you could expand the easement. When you purchased the property, did you consider at that time, was your plan to eventually have a slaughterhouse up there?
No, not at that point.
Okay. Did you apply to the Village of Greenwood for a permit for the slaughterhouse?
No.
May I correct that? Per the president.
We can talk about it
Okay.
later.
You're incorrect. I've talked to the president of the village. Did you ask the Village of Bull Valley if you could have a slaughterhouse down
No.
at 2318? Okay, thank you.
Hello, Rob Feller, 9604 Prairie Edge Road. My question's for Sergi. What studies, if any, were done surrounding what studies, if any, were done regarding surrounding property values dropping?
I'm not obligated to perform any studies.
How can you guarantee my property won't go down because it's one of the standards in the unified ordinances?
I cannot guarantee anything.
Okay.
Maybe your property go up in value.
I don't think
Who
it will.
knows?
I don't think so.
So that's only your opinion.
Okay, that's great. If this is compatible with the surrounding area, as you and your council have both stated before, then why did I receive a certified letter regarding the CUP? If it's compatible with the surrounding area, I shouldn't have gotten a letter.
No, the ordinance requires that adjacent property owners get notice, and in fact, the impetus for this second hearing was that county determined that additional people needed to get notice, so that's why
Okay.
you received
So-
notice.
so pretty
And in
much-
terms of the property values, petition.
I asked Sergi that question, by the way. Okay, when you parceled out your portion of your property for the slaughterhouse, did it go through planning and zoning for public hearing?
I believe so.
That's where we're at.
Yes.
I'm talking about the parcel. It's already parceled out, isn't it?
That's what we are here for.
Okay, well then forget that question. You stated that you're only gonna slaughter your own animals. How can you prove that you won't slaughter other farmers' animals and only slaughter your own?
Got plenty my own, growing a lot.
How can you prove that?
I don't have to prove to you.
Okay, thank you.
Robin Sechrist, 3917 Greenwood in the Village of Greenwood. I have a question for the DOT. When you do your traffic study, or when you get the traffic study, how are you going to determine, like during in-season you pick, there's 200 plus cars coming in and out. How do you do that traffic study now and know that? Are you just going based off of his word, or?
The traffic engineer should consult with him, get seasonal, things like that, as
Okay.
well as his daily.
Okay.
So,
Great. I'm just gonna finish up a couple of Linda's questions. Where do you currently have your chickens slaughtered? This is for Sergey.
At Clinton, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin? And how often do you deliver your chickens out there per week?
Not per week. That's a problem. We deliver once in 3 months or 2 months.
Once every 2 or 3
Yes.
months? Okay. And then where do you have your pigs slaughtered? Same place?
No, that's Lake Geneva, Wisconsin.
Lake Geneva? And how many go there per week?
3, 4.
3 or 4? Okay.
Not every week though.
Okay, and then just to ask one more time, did you, before this petition, before any of this, did you ever ask the Village of Greenwood if you had permission to build a slaughterhouse on the property up on 3712?
Officially, I never submit any applications.
But did you ask them?
I talked to president and he said that's probably not going to be appropriate location because they don't have the land. We figured that the parcel which I want to build belongs to McHenry County, not Village of Greenwood.
Right. So he just essentially said it's not in...
Not his land.
Not his land. Okay, is that why you decided to take that...
Correct, yes.
Separate off of Greenwood?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, that's all I had.
If there's no other questions, we'll allow Mr. Burney to ask his questions. You'll need a microphone. And you'll need to speak into it.
Let's start with the easement. Have you filed a suit to quiet title about your rights to use the easement? You know what I'm talking about? Have you filed a lawsuit in the McHenry County Court to quiet title to your right to use this easement for this slaughterhouse operation?
I did not.
Have you sought a zoning endorsement or an endorsement from a title company to use this easement for the purposes that you're proposing?
No.
So your entire basis of your claim is on Mr. McKenna's opinion that you have the right to use it. Is that correct?
Correct. That's a
So just like,
state,
you know,
state of
just-
Illinois law.
I get to ask yes, no questions for a while.
Can you ask one by one, not 10 questions at the same time, because I will get lost.
I thought I was. So we don't know a lot about Mr. McKenna's experience in easement issues, but perhaps he can elucidate us at the appropriate time. Moving on, describe the extent of the slaughtering that has occurred on the subject property through today. Is it true that there has been no slaughtering on the property?
No slaughtering at all.
And describe, do you have any other slaughtering experience?
No, I do not.
Thank you. Do you recall last summer that how you would learn how to slaughter was that you would read books? Do you recall that testimony?
I do not.
Have you read any books since last summer teaching you how to slaughter?
There is plenty information at the USDA
I'm seeing it.
website.
Have you read it?
Have you read it? Yes, I read it.
And how much of it have you read, Sergey?
I don't know. I didn't count the pages.
You didn't,
Mr.
say?
Barr, I cannot tell you specifically.
You said during cross-examination in the summer that those who will be doing the slaughtering will be current employees at your farm. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's 4 people, right?
Correct.
And what do they currently do? They don't engage in slaughtering operations,
They
do
work
they?
in butcher shop. They making sausages right now. They smoke meats. They do all the job connected with meats processing.
Okay, so let me understand it. You are making meats at this property right now?
No, we working in Skokie, Illinois. We got USDA inspected plant where we working under USDA inspection.
All right, so the 4 employees that you referred to in the summer are not employees at the farm. Is that what I'm to understand? It's employees somewhere else?
That's a employee of our farm, correct?
They are employees of at your farm?
Yes.
Okay, and are they making sausages at your farm?
We can do anything, making sausages, spray the trees, plow the land.
So you're
plant
making
the trees.
sausages and plowing the land?
Yes, same people.
Same
they can
people.
do anything.
So they make the sausages in Skokie, but they plow the land here.
Yes, we
at
planting
Sudbury.
the trees, we pruning the trees, we picking up apples, we picking up raspberries, strawberries. That's all same crew.
And this is the crew that's going to be your slaughtering team, is
Yes,
that
they can
correct?
do anything. We can train them and they can do anything.
And are they the same people who are tenants of yours on this property?
No, they're not tenants.
What are they?
They live in their own places.
Okay. Who is it that lives in the,
One of our employee.
one of your employees? Is it one of the 4 that are going to be doing this slaughtering operation?
No,
When you acquired the property, and when did you do that? In 2020 or 2016?
I planted orchard right away.
What?
Plant orchard.
No. When did you acquire the property, Sergey?
I would say about 2019.
2019. And when you acquired the property, did you realize a significant discount in the acres?
Not at all. I didn't feel
property
any
per
discount.
acres?
No.
You know, so you, if in fact, testimony is going to be presented that shows that you paid significantly less for this property than just a second, Sergey, than the value of properties around it, you'd say that it wasn't because there was this limited access to your property?
I paid full price for my property.
Full price. Was it less than what a similarly sized farm would sell for in this area of Greenwood Township?
Sorry, I'm not a real estate agent. I cannot tell you.
You don't know.
No,
And how is
I'm
this
not.
even relevant? What's the relevance of the purchase price for the property?
The loss in value, the hardship to the gentleman, the fact that he knew that it was landlocked, the fact that he paid less for the property because of its landlocked nature, and that he did not suffer, he's not suffering any loss because the county won't give him a slaughtering house on this property. That's how it's relevant. Are your testimony is that you did not pay less, significantly less for this property because of its condition of being
Absolutely.
landlocked?
I paid full price for that property.
Okay, and full price, you mean the price comparable to what other farms similarly situated in Greenwood Township went for at this date and time that you bought it?
I'm not expert real estate agent, so I cannot tell you.
So you don't know whether you paid
You
a
asked me
discount or not?
regarding the slaughter and farming. I am not a real estate agent, and I cannot answer appropriately to your question.
I'm asking you, did you pay a discount or
I
not? And
paid
you're
the
saying-
asking price. I don't know what you mean
Oh, you
discounted.
paid the asking price?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. What do you currently pay in real estate taxes?
For this particular property?
Yes.
You can check the record on McHenry website.
Sir,
The information is
do
available.
you know what you're currently paying in real estate taxes?
No, but I can look and tell you.
Do you expect that your real estate property taxes will increase by virtue of you establishing this slaughterhouse on this property?
Yes, I'm expecting that.
And how much of an increase do you expect?
I'm not sure.
Okay, and you've indicated you're going to have 4 employees, so you're not creating any new jobs in McHenry County for this operation, are
No.
you? Now, do you maintain semi-trailers on your property?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and where do those semi-trailers serve your other businesses?
No, they serve my farm.
And are they parked there 24/7, 365 days a
Correct,
year?
yes.
And that they are serving your farm in what respect? And what, there are 11 of these, right?
I answered you on this question before.
Well,
Chicken,
you know, I
chicken lives in those trailers, bedding for animals in those trailers, boxes for my raspberry and apples in those trailers, equipment which is I have to store through the winter in that trailer.
So these are stationary semi-trailers on your
That's
property?
movable storage trailers.
Okay. Now, you recall in your reapplication that you acknowledged that you talked, and I'm showing you your amended narrative statement. You want to hand one of those to Mr. McKenna too, please? And I've highlighted on page 2, Sergi, the language that I want you to look at. Are you looking on page 2, Sergi? And you see the sentence in the 4th line, prior to filing its application, and ending in the bracket, is owned by petitioner. Do you see that? And do you recall Mr. McKenna including this in his narrative?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so you acknowledge that you did have a conversation with the county planning department about this issue of the distance between an existing residence?
That's correct.
Okay, and tell me this, one of the gentlemen just referred to it, that there is only one parcel on this property, is that correct? And it's that 100 and some acres of ground?
There is 3 parcels.
3 parcels. And what parcel is your slaughtering house proposed to be located on?
That's highlighted 1 acre, which was.
Yeah, but what is the 1 acre on? The 1 acre is shown in that brown area, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and the parcel that it's located on, does that go north to the exception and south to the end of the drawing?
That goes south to the drawing.
Okay, and what about to the north? Is it a separate parcel to the north up to?
Yes, that's separate parcel.
Okay, so the parcel that this facility is proposed to be on goes down to the south to the end of the drawing and is adjacent to the south end of that subdivision, correct?
Correct.
So tell me, how is it, using the rule that excuse me a second. The rule in section HH is that no animal slaughter operation may be located on a parcel within 500 feet of any residential zoning district or residential structure located in an agricultural zoning district. So help me to understand, how is it that this parcel, that the slaughterhouse is on this parcel and it's immediately adjacent to a slew of single-family homes? Do you agree, sir?
I agree.
You do agree?
So, yes,
Okay,
obvious fact, we can see that.
Yes, so you have not sought a variation from this requirement in section HH, which is to allow this slaughterhouse to be located on a parcel of land which is adjacent to a residential zoning district, correct?
Correct. I
So
don't know what
how
is,
is
I
it-
don't know what your question, but I would say correct.
So how is it that you can continue with this application, sir?
I will continue.
Yeah, well, I understand you will, and I think, I think that everybody's pretty much got their opinions made in this, so I'm not gonna spend a lot more time. I could ask several more questions, but I think it's pretty clear about your failure to meet the standards, including the impact on ingress and egress. But here's what I wanna know. Look out here, Sergi, look at these people that are here today. And I'd like you to talk to them and tell them how you can continue, and these good people have been at these meetings over and over again for the last 9 months. and you have disrupted their lives, and you have turned their lives upside down. And here it is, the Christmas season. You've struck fear
The
in their
question, sir.
It's getting there. You've struck fear in their hearts, and what you will do what it'll do to the quality of their life and their property. And these people are your neighbors. So how can you be so uncaring to their interests to continue to propose this use and to continue to pursue this application? You said that they were what was your word?
Let him
Dave?
answer the question, Tom.
Okay, all right. How can you be so uncaring of these people and their concerns?
My
I'd
opinions.
like you to look at them,
My opinions is opposite to your opinion, Mr. Barney. Actually, what I'm doing, that's a favor for the people and for animals. So
All right,
they
no.
will have the
No
options
comments.
for the fresh food grown naturally just behind their residence. So that's not too many people have advantage to
You've
that.
said that already, Sergi. and
Yes,
these people-
that's my answer to you, Mr. Barney.
You've said that, Sergi, and these people continue to show up to oppose what it is you want
Okay,
to do.
Mr. Bernie, I
So-
think you've made your point.
So can you explain that? There was a question, I got it in.
I
All
think
right,
I already answered my question.
He answered it.
I will cede to the chairman. I thank you for the time.
I have one more question just to follow up. In staff plat review comments, they wanted to make sure that you would have no portable slaughtering facilities at this site. Would that be
Yeah.
correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that question is asked. Okay, so if there's no other questions, Mr. Bernie's been finished. We'll move on to, well,
To clarify a question that was raised by Mr. Birdie about the district.
you go right ahead.
I don't have a mic, hold up. Can I borrow yours? Thanks. Adam, I
Ms.
saw that you were
Beverly.
furiously looking stuff up on your computer. Do you have an answer to Mr. Birdie's question?
Yes, yes, there we go. All right, so, I guess to frame it, HH1, no animal slaughter operation may be located within a parcel of 500 feet on a parcel within 500 feet of any residential zoning district, or residential structure located in an agricultural zoning district. That's the requirement. As we look at the site plan compared to the residential structures about, it's 700 feet plus. So 500 feet is that marker. We're at about 700 feet, round numbers. May even be more like 850 to 900.
So just to clarify, it is totally consistent and staff plat was consistent in finding this met the requirements?
Yeah, as we in planning and development read the ordinance, it complies and fits with the ordinance.
May I ask a question, point of order, please?
Chairman, could I and I don't like to argue with Adam, I have great respect for him, but my view is that
You could state it in your presentation, whatever you want. This is just a clarification between the board member and the staff. Okay. So we're going to take a 5-minute break right now before we take the staff report. I'll call the meeting back to order. Yeah, he just put in a new battery. Oh, he did? Yeah. He sent me a note ready to go dead, but this one is definitely not working.
That seems to be working.
Okay. Okay, at this time, we'll take testimony from the public, starting with the staff. Ms. Charlo, would you please give us your staff report?
Sure. For the record, I'm Kim Charlo, planner with McHenry County Planning and Development. Jumping in for Anna Kurtzman today, so I'll just kind of take a look through her staff report here. So the subject property is zoned A1 Agricultural District. Is surrounded by, is incorporated to the north and to the west, and A1 Agriculture to the south and east. The subject property is currently used for agriculture and is also surrounded by agriculture uses. The future land use designation for the property is estate zoning. And let's see, I had her staff assessment here, one second. Okay, the applicant is seeking to establish a food processing facility to allow animal slaughter on 1 acre of land. The subject property is part of a larger parcel, which is one of 3 parcels totaling around 108 acres. The site plan denotes access to the subject property is obtained via a cross-access easement through 3 parcels, of which 1 parcel is owned by the applicant. As the subject property does not have direct frontage to a public road, the applicant is also seeking a variance to reduce the minimum street frontage from the 330 feet requirement to 0 feet. Section 16.56.030.h of the Unified Development Ordinance provides use standards for food processing facilities with animal slaughter. Subsection 1 requires that such facilities be located a minimum of 500 feet from any residentially zoned district or a residential structure located in an agricultural zoning district. The Village of Greenwood zoning map depicts the property where the house is located as zoned agriculture. The applicant has provided documentation demonstrating that the nearest residential structure is located just over 217 feet from the proposed facility. I believe that was it. I don't think I have anything further. Did you have anything, Adam? Nope. Okay.
Negative.
That is it.
Okay. Mr. Burney, you have a presentation?
We do, Madam Chairman. We're going to have 4 witnesses who are going to, you forgot, we're going to have 4 witnesses. I just want to say this is the most organized opposition that I've ever encountered. And they've really done a lot of hard work on this. They forwarded to all of you their PowerPoint. I know that all of you have read it. We're going to try to highlight with 4 witnesses who it is that's going to be speaking. It's going to be Linda Heimbaugh, Steve Young, filling in for Don Goat, if that's possible, is going to be Jim Ferretti, and then Robin Sechrist, and that'll conclude our direct case, so to speak. So if we could start with those folks, that'd be great. And Kim has been kind enough to run the system through your PowerPoint.
Okay. Please proceed.
Just for the board's information, our property runs along the entire west side of the petitioner's property.
Please identify yourself
Oh, yeah.
and your address.
I'm sorry. Linda Heimbaugh, 3920 Greenwood Road, the Village of Greenwood. Our land runs the entire, from north to south, directly west of the petitioner's property. Our family has lived there since 1955. The property has, the petitioner's property has pretty much only been residences for that entire time with farmland. This proposed site has no direct public road frontage. Its only access is off Greenwood Road, a high-traffic public highway Greenwood Road already carries passenger vehicles, farm equipment, commercial trucks, school buses that stop at this exact location, and frequent emergency response traffic. Adding regular commercial truck traffic for a slaughterhouse significantly increases the risk of congestion, accidents, and delayed emergency access. Access from Greenwood Road depends entirely on a one-lane dirt and gravel easement that runs directly through the middle of our property. This easement was granted decades ago for occasional agricultural use. It was intended for farm equipment, not for frequent commercial or retail traffic. It cannot be widened without damaging farmland and the Greenwood Cemetery, which the lane also passes through. While the easement agreement states 33 feet in width, and that would be from fence to fence for the cemetery, in actuality, only approximately 16 feet is the actual lane that is used, far less than the 24 feet required. As the owners, we would not allow any changes to the easement use. Vehicles already must drive off the lane and onto the grass, sometimes through the new Greenwood Cemetery when passing. This is unsafe and unacceptable. Seasonal agritourism activities have already increased traffic significantly. A slaughterhouse would generate constant, year-round truck traffic, making the situation worse. In the event of an emergency, such as a fire, how will vehicles evacuate while emergency services attempt to enter? Consider the 2023 Harvard Slaughterhouse fire, which required 14 fire departments to respond. And there were no fire hydrants there, as is the case at this location. There are no fire hydrants there. A private, narrow easement is not sufficient or appropriate for any industrial level operation. As owners of the land the easement crosses, we are deeply concerned about liability. If an accident occurs or emergency access fails, the risk and responsibility fall on us. That is an unreasonable burden to place on private landowners. This property is surrounded by homes on three sides, with our home immediately to the west. A slaughterhouse in the middle of a residential area will lower property values, deter investment, and permanently alter the character of Greenwood and Wonder Lake. This is not about opposing agriculture. A slaughterhouse is not a farm. It is a high-intensity commercial facility that belongs in a properly zoned and buffered location, not next to families and children. The Village of Greenwood and Greenwood Township have already rejected this proposal. The petitioner purchased this land knowing it was landlocked and repeatedly approached us to buy or rent our farmland, even claiming he owned the easement. This demonstrates clear awareness that the site does not meet basic access requirements. This petition is a direct contradiction of the county's zoning requirements and fails to meet the basic standards for approval of a conditional use. The county UDO clearly requires 330 feet of road frontage for uses of this nature. Why would they have that? Approving this request would create a dangerous situation and set a troubling precedent that the frontage requirement can be ignored, even for facilities as intensive as a slaughterhouse. For these reasons, I respectfully and urge the board to reject this application. Thank you.
As a point of clarification, are these public comments or is this testimony? Mr. Bernie said that this was his case in chief, so I'm assuming that this is testimony.
If he wants to ask Ms. Hambach questions, I invite him to do so. That's his point.
That's my point.
Linda?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Mr. McKenna.
Do you have a
Thank
question?
you. I do, yes.
Oh.
So you mentioned that there's vehicle traffic, buses or trucks and school buses that are already on Greenwood Road.
Yeah.
And the school buses you said already stop at the driveway.
There's a school bus that stops and
there's-
picks up and drops off kids that live on his property.
And there's trucks that are accelerating, decelerating. So there's already traffic on Greenwood Road that other drivers have to be aware of.
Yes,
Okay. And then just one other question. You mentioned that the easement is 33 feet wide.
that's the maximum width.
Correct. And the drive, the 24-foot requirement, which is a county requirement for coming and, or, two-way traffic, would fit within that 36 or 33 feet?
No, not the way it is. Right now, you're expecting to change the use of the easement because right now it is bordered by grass. And then my fields are right next to that grass.
But the easement agreement gives the petitioner
Well, I guess that might be something for the courts to decide eventually. What we're looking at is...
That's fine. I've had nothing further. Thank you.
Okay, go on with your presentation.
Sure. Hi, my name is Stephen Young. I live at 9295 Rachel Drive. I've been a first responder in the community in our county for over 25 years. Don't consider myself the smartest person by any way, shape, or form. I am a public servant. I believe in the public service. I have gone and been educated in emergency management and things like that, and I only know of one person here personally that probably knows more about it than I do, and he's sitting in the back of the room. But if we look at this as a business, because it is, right? It's a business. It's not, it's it's an agricultural business. We're looking at putting that work right next to homes, and it's within purview, I understand that. But it's just, when you look at access to it, having to make lanes and come in and be a responder to incidences, trying to make these turns, make in and out, even that 24-foot easement for road purposes is asking a lot for the guys at Woodstock that do a great job, because they're going to be the first ones there. I know that personally, and I know I'd be one of the seconds. But that trying to get those long lines, get everything into the back of that building to try and make it a stop. If there's an incident back here, we're going to have a fire. If we have a fire, you're going to burn that place down like you did, like they said in Harvard at Jones's, right? There was no access problems at Jones's. There's huge access problems here, in my opinion, as a fireman, trying to get back and look at these things. It's no different than any other barn, right? I don't know how many times you guys have driven around. I mean, I see Riley, Dorr, Nunda. How many barn fires do you see people saved, right? Not through lack. It just, the amount of combustibles in there, it will go up and be gone. When we start talking about that, now we're putting chemicals, we're doing things for animal slaughter, and we're having all those other things in that building. You're putting dangers to the community in and without us. The speeds traveled are the speeds traveled, right, on the main roads. I get it. It's going to be what it'll be. Well, getting the traffic in and out, the big part of that for me is the agritourism. When you're saying it's 50 to 100 cars a day when he's going to U-Pick, and that's a hard thing to swallow. Trying to get 100 cars out if there's an issue, and you were trying to get in. The other thing is if we do have an issue with property devaluation, which can happen, they have studies that have shown it to happen. As a former elected official in another area and having to go try and make my budget and make that, we all know what happens. Property values goes down, county has to put in a multiplier, right? So our county sources can have their funding. It's going to increase property, it's going to increase the dollar value of taxes per 100,000. It's going to decrease your price, but then you're gonna have to end up paying more taxes on it anyway. So it's hurting us economically as well. I really strongly urge the board to deny his application because of safety factors in and around there, as well as what it could possibly do to our taxing bodies and our taxes. Thank you. Mr. McKenna, if you got anything for me, I'm good.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Jim Ferretti for Don Goat.
Hi, again, my name is James Ferretti, 9340 Rachel Drive, Wonder Lake. Unfortunately, Don Gold could not be here today due to the weather, and he's part of the traffic. So I don't have a statement in front of me, but he was going to review the impact to the, he's part of the Cemetery Commission. Sexton. So the impact will be to the neighboring cemetery. As you, I don't know if you guys all have driven past this already, there is no indication where this is located. Obviously, there's no turn lane, and a lot of people do turn into the cemetery and disrupt services. It really does impact our community, our loved ones who are in that cemetery. Again, this will just continue impact, especially if we expand the road or the easement. You know, there's going to be pigs coming, you know, in and out, these disgusting, you know, waste management trucks coming in. It is going to absolutely disrupt this, and there has been disruption in the past with Linda and her family services and cars pulling in and out by, you know, mistakenly going into the wrong entrance, as this is not a proper easement. So, and like I said, I don't know if I have pictures for it, but you know, the other pictures do show that there are telephone poles already in there that they would also have to be removed. You can't just expand it and everything's good. No, it'd be a very large impact. And again, spanning this easement, the road into even greater to the cemetery will impact them even worse. But these trucks will be right next to where the headstones and people are. So that's all I got.
Do you have any questions, Mr. McKenna? Okay.
Thank you.
This will be our last witness.
All right, thank you.
Hi again, my name is Robin Sechrist. I live at 3917 Greenwood Road in the village of Greenwood, directly across the street from the petitioner. I'm here today to speak about the disruption that the petitioner's current activities have caused, specifically during funeral services at Greenwood Cemetery, which I've experienced firsthand. As you know, the easement the petitioner uses is access to his landlocked property runs directly along the cemetery. On September 21st of 2024, my family and I laid to rest both my husband's grandparents, who had passed away only a few months apart. They were cremated, and we held full service with pastor, color guard. He was in the military. Family and friends were all gathered to say our final goodbyes. Our family plots are located immediately adjacent to the easement used for the traffic to the petitioner's You Pick Apple business. Because the funeral occurred during peak apple picking season, a vehicle passed along the easement every 15 to 30 seconds. It had not rained for weeks, so dust was consistently being kicked up into the faces of all the grieving family members. The noise from the traffic overpowered all the pastor's words. We could barely hear the color guard. Some drivers attempted to be respectful by slowing down, but many did not. They just flew through, they didn't care. They drove quickly without consideration for any of the service that was taking place only a few feet away. While this incident occurred before the current petitioner added the slaughterhouse, I do believe that it's important for the board to understand the impacts already that he has created with his existing commercial operations. Increased traffic and disruptions will only grow in additional businesses as he's adding on and on and on. I mean, I don't even think he has a plan on how big he's gonna get. I want to reiterate that the easement was intended for residential and agriculture use only, not for UPIC, not for farmland. We have not said one thing about that prior to this. So he was able to do whatever he wanted. You didn't even have a permit for what he was doing for years, right? We didn't have a problem with that. None of us did. It was a farm. I feel like we all had very good communication with him until this. The existing use has already resulted in significant disruption to the sacred and sensitive moments for families at the cemetery, and adding one more commercial operation will only worsen these impacts. Thank you for your consideration. I urge you to deny this petition. Thank you. Do you have any?
No, thank you.
Nothing. Cool.
That ends your presentation.
It is. If there's any other comments outside of the people that I represent, and then I'm just going to take your invite to just respond in this parcel business.
Why don't you go ahead and do that now, Tom, and then we'll just take our members of the public's testimony.
All right.
Excuse me. We had more to the presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please. My mistake.
Okay, go ahead, finish your
Hi, I'm
presentation.
Renee Trojan. I live at 9210 Red Barn Drive in Wonder Lake, and I'm also an Illinois licensed real estate broker. And I'm going to give you some evidence-based information on how the proximity to an animal processing facility
Come to the microphone, please.
is likely to affect home values. So after reviewing multiple studies, including Kim and Goldsmith 2009 analysis of Illinois swine facilities, which show clear home value reductions, estimated approximately an 8.4% loss at roughly 1 mile from a large animal operation. Another study in Peoria County, Illinois, appraisal and assessment data reported a 10 to 30% value decreases for properties classified as affected by odor, truck, traffic, related nuisances, and quality of life changes. And then in a recent study at University of Wisconsin-Madison, it showed homes exposed to higher odor, water quality risks, and livestock byproducts may experience value losses exceeding traditional 5 to 10% values. So there was also another study done in Minnesota, and that study showed just a half a mile from a animal processing facility, those homes were affected by 40%, going down in 10% increments. So based on that research, you'll see from a quarter mile to a half a mile, there's likely an estimated 10 to 20% possible reduction in value, depending on the scale of facility, mitigation, and wind direction. And then from a half mile to mile out, a 5 to 10% reduction. And then for a typical deer path to Woods Creek home valued between $350,000 and $400,000, just looking at a 5 to 10% reduction likely could mean a $17,500 to a $40,000 loss in market value for nearby homeowners. So looking at that at a bigger perspective, the 27 properties that border the parcel for the proposed slaughterhouse, if you add up all those estimated values and then a 5% decline likely in value could possibly mean a $521,966 decline in value for those 27 homes. And then at a 10% likely decline, it would be $1,043,933. So that's just for the 27 properties, not including all the other properties in the subdivision that you base home sales on. And then, in addition, there's a stigma to, the stigma or market perception plays a significant role in valuation, regardless of the measured external impacts. If prospective buyers anticipate potential nuisances such as odors, traffic, and well water contamination, this perceived risk can likely depress home values on its own. So I respectfully urge the board to consider these impacts carefully as part of its statutory responsibility to evaluate effects on surrounding property values and the public interest. Thank you for your consideration and opposition. Any questions?
I do, yeah, just really quick. I'm assuming that those studies were based on much larger facilities than what is proposed?
Some of them, yes.
Okay, and I'm also assuming that those studies were done in areas that didn't already border agricultural activities?
Some of them did border, some of them bordered residential properties, some of them did not. And then if they were very rural, they were even citing like a 40% and even up to an 80% decline in property values in very rural areas in Peoria, Illinois. So if you take a $63,000 home and its value is decreased by, let's say, 20%, out here in Wonder Lake, our homes, I think between the two subdivision, our median home value is $375,000 between the two subdivisions. So that the impact would be likely higher for our residential area compared to a very rural area.
But the factors that you stated, odor, for example, wouldn't that typically be expected if you were coming out from the city and moving next to a farm?
That would slightly be expected. Like for example, if you live next to a cemetery, the stigma is roughly a 12% decline, likely decline in value according to Realtor.com.
I'm sorry. What was that?
All your study, ma'am, what you present is regarding confined animal feeding operation on land value. Look, read all 8 points. That's everything about animal husbandry in confined large barns where they keep thousands and thousands head of beef or pigs. Read it what you present. There is nothing says about slaughterhouses, none of them from 8.
I've looked at other studies.
There is none.
Also,
None what you
I've
present.
emailed the board. I've emailed the board some of the other studies that suggest there is a likelihood of property decline living near animal operation facilities. Even if it's a small facility, there is likely, based on the stigma alone, and then these studies. Unfortunately, we lack studies in McHenry County, and you don't know until after it happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who was going to make a presentation and I ignored them? I'd like to do a comment. The chairman's going to invite that. I would.
Before we have the public comment, you had some comments you wanted to make, Mr. Bernie. I'll let you be all finished, and then I'm going to open it up to everybody else.
Could we go back to your staff report? Let's go first to the map, which shows the parcels. Keep going up. I think there's a parcel map up here. Up. No, I say up, I mean down. I'm sorry. No, isn't there? Don't you have a plat map? Let's keep going. Is that it? Yes. I'm sorry. Thank you for your help, people. Yeah, there's that one right there. There we go. Okay, we're good to go. Oh, no, there we go. Okay, so my point of view, and just in terms of interpretation of this requirement, I don't think that there is another standard in the zoning UDO that uses the word parcel. So the confusion about what a parcel is everybody's just getting acquainted with this. But what Sergi has proposed to put his slaughtering business on is not a parcel. It hasn't been subdivided. It doesn't have a PIN number. It's part of, as the staff report states, part of this parcel, and I don't really know what number it is. And that parcel, the boundaries of that parcel is where the inquiry goes, and that parcel is immediately adjacent to residential. So I don't fault staff for this. I don't think that they've ever been caused to encounter this business of interpreting what a parcel is. But as we look at it, this facility does not satisfy HH because the parcel is adjacent to this slew of single-family homes. So, so that's my view. And, at some point, maybe the state's attorney needs to weigh in on it. This is obviously kind of implicated in that other slaughterhouse facility as well. As what is a parcel that a slaughterhouse is being put on? And I'm not faulting anybody. I think it's confusing, but that's my view on it, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
So is your testimony finished?
Yes.
Okay.
Will I be able to do a closing argument? Are you going to do that, or what?
I'll allow you make a closing argument. Sure. So now, any member of the public that would like to make a statement, you'll have 3 minutes. You'll have to give your name and address. I ask you not to be repetitive because whatever information you shared with us, we don't need to hear it 10 times versus 1 time to make our decision. So I just ask you not to be repetitive. And, but go ahead and we'll just have you line up on the right like we did with the questions. Go ahead, sir.
Wayne Mankey, I live on West Wonder Lake Road, Windermere Road since I moved 5 years ago. 9605, pull up Greenwood Road, would you please? Or pull up Windermere. Anyway, I live just north of the property, and I say Sergey's not a good neighbor. We're talking to the realtor, she says odors will lower the price of your homes. I live just north of the pig farm, and it stinks to high heaven about 3 days out of the week. When I left just today to come over here, pig smell. If I try to sell that place, it is not going to go good. And he says the pigs grow up in a building, most of them do, but they dump the manure out on my side of the building. And I've seen piles out there, and the flies come out. It's disgusting. And so far, there's nothing I can do to get, the smell knows no limit of distance. The whole board probably is not familiar with pig smell. It is disgusting. It's poop, urine, disgusting. Thank you.
Michelle Van Loo, 3735 Twin Oaks Drive, Wonder Lake, Illinois. I live on Twin Oaks Drive, right up against his property. There is the apple orchard to the left of my home and the cows to the right of my home. Sergey's employees or him are very rude and irresponsible, and unfortunately, I believe that if he was allowed to open up the slaughterhouse, the stink and the flies would get 10 times to maybe even 100 times worse. I mean, it's already bad enough now that my husband and I clean the siding of our house 4 times a year from the feces that the flies put on our home. And you have to clean that off because that's actually a health hazard. You can actually get very sick from that. So we clean it 4 times a year. And also, I mean, this is not completely on the slaughterhouse, but he will fertilize his apple orchard, does not take a consideration of people outside of their home on a windy day and will spray those chemicals. I had company from overseas at my house when we were having a cookout outside. He literally soaked us down with his chemicals, and we had to throw all our food away. So I don't have faith that this man will take my health into his consideration when he's installing the slaughterhouse and his tank in the ground, that he is going to keep it up to code and standard. So I please urge you to not approve his petition. Thank you.
My name is Elaine Barron. I live at 4702 West Shore Drive in Wonder Lake. The town of Greenwood is a quiet, friendly town known for the Greenwood General Store and the Greenwood Elementary School. My children attended Greenwood Elementary, and I have friends buried in Greenwood Cemetery. I would hate for the peaceful image of Greenwood to change and for it to be known as the town with the slaughterhouse. As a resident of Wonder Lake, the proximity of the slaughterhouse to the Nippersink Creek concerns me. Most of the homes in Wonder Lake depend on wells for their water needs. The Nippersink Creek is what feeds our lake and is responsible for its existence. If that creek, watershed, or groundwater became contaminated by the operation of the slaughterhouse, there is no going back. The damage is done. The petitioner's lack of experience either in working in a slaughterhouse or overseeing the operations of a slaughterhouse are a red flag for me. There are many rules and regulations to know, understand, and follow when one is responsible for a facility like this. The petitioner has not shown he is ready for this undertaking. So the question is granting the approval for a slaughterhouse worth the risk? For these reasons, I ask that you vote no on the petitioner's request. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Young. I live at 9295 Rachel Drive. My job outside of being a resident in Wonder Lake, I'm a board-certified family nurse practitioner. I've been in healthcare since 1997. Been a nurse practitioner since 2017. And I've done a lot of research on public health through my master's program. And there are a lot of different diseases and things that can be spread from the increase of pests that would be attracted to such a facility. For example, and the one I think that concerns me the most is something called hantavirus. And this is from mice and rats. And there's a very large issue with slaughterhouses attracting this type of pest. So my concern is with something like hantavirus, it is spread not just, like you don't just have to touch a rodent, it just from feces, from urine. It can be spread not from person to person, but from any of the droppings that it would leave anywhere near your home. And it's a 40% fatality rate if this were to be contracted. That number is small, I can tell you that right now. But this is not something that I'm willing to take a chance for, and I'm not sure why he would want to take a chance with our health. There's a lot of other diseases as well that can be spread not only by rodents, but with flies, which somebody already mentioned. I live in Deer Path. My daughter and her family live in Creekside, and her house borders the petitioner's property, the entire side of her house. She lives there with her husband and their 2 kids, and my youngest granddaughter there has asthma. They have already found a dead rat in their window well, and I just shudder to think about what will happen as they border his property if this opens. So, you know, just in the interest of safety and public health, I strongly, strongly urge you to reject this petition. Thank you very much for your time.
Hi, Mary Bishop, 10418 Arabian Trail, Thoroughbred Estates. Just a few things to wrap up what I have to say. Last summer, I found myself on the Channel 5 Evening News, not imparting some great veterinary medical information, but trying to explain that, yes, dead animals do smell. It doesn't matter how they die or where they die. They smell, and they smell worse than live animals do. Secondly, it astounds me that the petitioner says there will be no effect on surrounding properties. There are numerous reports, which I understand you already have received the studies, that show that any size slaughterhouse, yes, it's going to affect all of us. The 500-foot limit for a residence, that makes perfect sense for environmental and health reasons. But there also needs to be some common sense involved for the population density surrounding this area and the hundreds of us that will be affected by this. Probably the scariest part of this whole thing is I came into these first meetings and I still have the feeling that a lot of us in the audience are now more educated in the running of a slaughterhouse than the petitioner is. I've been in a slaughterhouse also, just like the petitioner. I'm also a vet. I'm not qualified to open or run a slaughterhouse, and I hope if I was to ever come to the county and want to do it, that you'd stop me, because slaughterhouses are a very dangerous place to work. There's a study by the OSHA, of the most dangerous workplaces, the top 12. Number 5, Tyson Chickens with their poultry. Number 8 was also a poultry producer that has a slaughterhouse. It's putting the employees, everybody in danger, because this petitioner doesn't seem to know as much as the rest of us now do about a slaughterhouse. Thank you.
Again, my name is James, I'm sorry.
You're speaking on you were speaking before on behalf of someone else, correct, on your testimony? And now you're speaking on your own behalf?
Correct, yes, yes. My wife couldn't be here, so. Again, James Ferretti, 9340 Rachel Drive. So first, just honestly want to say thank you guys. We've had to go through a lot of hoops to get here, and finally we're getting hopefully finished. And it is, we've said the negatives all it can, but honestly, I'm glad as a community we came together. We are in McHenry County, and we care for our county. We care for our people, our kids, our environment, and it shows that we are all still here fighting this thing. And I know Sergey, he stated he does not live here. He's not a McHenry County resident. He will not increase employees, so he's not going to hire anyone local, so it doesn't help us in that. He will not support any other farms. And I grew up on a farm myself, and we always help the community. He's not helping the community. He even stated before that he's willing to not sell on this property. So there's no increased sales tax. There's no reason for this to come here. It's just for his own greed, and it's unfortunate. Again, I am a safety professional. I'm a CSP. I've worked in the food industry before, and every time he kind of talks about lost my train of thought. USDA, thank you. It says USDA is going to train his employees. That is absolutely false. That's like saying OSHA is going to train your employees. No, they set the rules that you have to train. You are the employer. You are required by law, federal law, and he doesn't even know that. He's saying they're going to train them. That's not correct. From a safety professional, it is scary as heck that these poor employees are being exposed to these things. It is, it won't even be sprinkled. There's no fire hydrants. There's no sprinkler suppression system. There's no one even living there. They'll let us know if it burns down. We'll see the glow in the distance. At that point, the chemicals are already released into the environment. It is absolutely scary. But I'm here. My kid is sick at home right now, and I'm here fighting for him, fighting for my 2 children to keep this from hurting them. The fact that Greenwood Elementary School is less than a mile, 0.8 miles away, and this guy thinks it's okay to put an industrial slaughterhouse. And yes, it is a large industrial slaughterhouse because he did state under oath that he will have beef. I forget which board member mentioned that, and he agreed. So yes, this is a large industrial slaughterhouse. This is a high traffic area. There is no easement. There is no turn lane. There will be fatalities. That's just the way it is. It's why we have to stop these things. The fact that he's asking the board to say, hey, the 500 feet for this residential where there's children living, to approve that? Heck no, that is impossible. You can't, because if something happens to that child, it's unfortunately it'll fall on you guys. So again, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
David Caio, 3915 Crabapple Lane. I live directly behind Sergey, so I get to see the pigs, smell all the farm stuff, which will probably also destroy our property value. So I'll have a slaughterhouse. I have the smell of pigs. We don't go outside in the backyard anymore. I got a nice trampoline we don't use because my 4 children don't like smelling pig manure either. Sergey said he's going to be a very safe guy. He's going to read all these manuals, and everything's going to be just done properly. The first time I met Sergey was because his employees almost burned down half my shed. They melted half of it because there was a bunch of firewood behind the property line, and they just lit it on fire. So I have pictures to show that. And Sergey and his employees did not have the common decency to say, hey, we melted half the siding on your shed. I happened to be having some work done on the shed because the soffit was rotted out. And the worker said, hey, the back half of your house or your shed is melted. So then I finally got a hold of Sergey, and that's how I found out. So he doesn't care about us, the community. He doesn't do things properly. If he cared, he said, hey, this happened, it was an accident. I get it, I don't care. They should have moved the wood before they burned it, but they didn't. They left it there, they burned it because they're careless. Much as so they're probably going to be careless with this. So they already have safety concerns there. There's also all these safety concerns with the manure smell. We have to smell manure. We have to deal with our property values going down. We have to inhale pesticides. And then now we have to worry about all the poisons to kill all the vermin and rodents that are going to be coming onto our properties that are going to possibly get contaminated into our well waters. So we have kids, we have children. Nobody moved out to Wonder Lake. I've been here for 7 years now. We didn't move into this. This moved into us. It's not fair to us that came out to live a nice, quiet, peaceful life in the country, and now we have to smell manure, breathe in pesticides. We can't open up our windows depending on where you're at or which way the wind's blowing. He sprays down families with pesticides. If you have manure on people's houses, it increases the cost for everybody. It increases the risks of our kids, our health, our breathing. All this stuff is all tied. I also am a licensed nurse practitioner. This does have health effects on breathing. Isn't there lawsuits with the pesticide companies now losing billions of dollars? Yes, there is. So we're going to get some of that also. So it's not fair to us, it's not fair to our kids, it's not fair to our community, which is why I was touching on the point before of how can you call yourself a community man when you're dumping pesticides, manure, and now all this whatever waste comes from a slaughterhouse into a community surrounded by homes that clearly don't want you here. Especially, let's not forget, he's got other farms he could put this on. This is nice, tucked away, hidden. He's got a nice big iron gate so no one can get in to see what he's doing, surrounded by buildings and orchards. So no one can file a complaint because no one can see anything that he's doing. Thank you. God bless.
I'm borrowing readers, so I apologize here.
Name and address.
They look good. My name is Michael Pittman, and me and my wife live at 9411 Rachel Drive in Wonder Lake for over 22 years. I will try not to ramble because I've only got 3 minutes to speak. I've got a ton of concerns, but I've been very fortunate to also work in the same town and community with frequent uses on Greenwood Road as my route. Over the past multiple years now, I've noticed a small gravel road by the cemetery going from a quiet access to some days very, very active with lots of cars and going in quite a bit in and out, especially for spring and fall, for U-Pick. I have personally witnessed some very close calls on Greenwood Road with cars full of families. I can only assume with a proposal to add more employees, vendors, garbage, waste, trucks will stress out the gravel road and Greenwood Road more. This site already is landlocked and there is no frontage to speak of. The county has standards for a reason. To reduce it from 330 feet down to 0 is a deadly consequence. These regulations exist to protect residents and maintain orderly development. The petitioner also states that he has some hardships for him, and I will read it out loud from the McHenry County Variance Procedures 10-12-460, number 3. States, there must be proof of practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship. It is not sufficient to show that greater profit or economical gain will result if the variation would be granted. Furthermore, the hardship or difficulty cannot be self-created or self-imposed, nor can it be established on the basis by the owner who purchased with or without knowledge of the provisions of this ordinance. The difficulty or hardship must result from the strict application of this ordinance, and it must be suffered directly and solely by the owner. I also think it's fair to say that as a neighborhood, it'd be nice to hear the actual timeline, procedures, and processes of actually how the slaughter plant is going to go. You've heard anything from 1 day, 3 days, 5 days. The amendment narrative proposal uses vague language such as anticipates regarding operation days, leaving homeowners with more questions than answers. Clear timelines and commitments are essential for any business of this type and fails to truly let us know what the actual plan is. The McHenry County 2030 comprehensive plan called for this to be estates on this property, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one that would much rather have that than what is being presently proposed. Thank you for your time. Me and my family strongly oppose this, and I feel this will greatly hurt not only our homes, subdivisions, community, and all the surrounding areas for the future.
Hi, Lisa Griffith, 3670 Twin Oaks Drive. I'd like to talk about the definition of a parcel and how that relates to the principal use standard, HH, food processing with animal slaughter. This standard states that no animal slaughter operation may be placed on a parcel within 500 feet of any residential zoning district. or residential structure located in an agricultural zoning district. And I want to take this off because I want to point at this map. So he has stated that he is going to build the slaughterhouse on that little pink square. That's 1 acre within the larger 50 acres. That little 1 acre parcel does not have its own PIN. The PIN exists with the 50 acre property. And the state of Illinois says that a PIN identifies one specific parcel. So if we look at the standard, it says no animal slaughter operation may be located on a parcel. This parcel within 500 feet of a residential district. This parcel has 0 feet between it and these parcels here and here. 0. That's not even taking into account the residents he has on his property. It's not up to him to waive somebody else's rights. Those people living in that house on his property, if there are children living there, they're going to be subject to what's going on the property. It's not up to him to say, oh, it doesn't matter. They're my employees. Shame on you. Shame on you. Thank you.
Hi, my name's David Griffith, 3670 Twin Oaks Drive. I'm here in opposition of this permit. I work for a home rule municipal government in community development. I work in planning and zoning. I do inspections, plan review. I'm not used to speaking in front of people, but I deal with contractors every day. Between business owners, building owners, homeowners, and contractors, they lie to me every day. Not a day goes by where I'm not lied to. When it comes to the dollar, they'll lie to me. You stated you have 3 stores, 4th planned in Wheeling, and you're going to process 60 chickens a week. You're telling me you're going to sell 15 chickens each store? I don't believe it. Now the building. Okay, I see a lot of building plans. Architects never add extras to a building. However, your building, 13 parking spaces, one of which is ADA. ADA bathrooms, walk-in coolers. The architect refers to the south end of the building as storefront entry. There's also a grease trap on the plans. The only time I see a grease trap is for food processing or a kitchen. And the Illinois Plumbing Code indicates if you have 5 employees, you only need 1 bathroom, yet you have 2 bathrooms, 1 male, 1 female. And you know what? Who requires 1 male, 1 female? Restaurants and retail. You're setting yourself up for bigger items. I don't care if you just want to sell cider donuts, just be truthful, okay? And I don't believe you are. Now, you've testified children live in that housing. And others have spoke of the health concerns regarding a slaughterhouse. It's not up to the board to waive someone else's safety requirements. That would be like me performing an inspection, seeing something unsafe, and telling the contractor it's fine. When it goes south, the village will wash their hands of me and say, hey, this is on you. You are no longer protected by us. You blatantly misled. So the code book, which the county adopts, wish I could go on.
You can pass that on to someone else to read the rest for you if you'd like.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Rob Feller, 9604 Prairie Edge Road. I will keep this short. As the chairman of the Wonder Lake Planning and Zoning Commission, I strongly urge this board to not recommend this petition. I have read through the 10 standards set by the McHenry County Ordinance, Section 1620-040. I feel that standards 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9 are not met. I won't read through all the standards as I have in previous meetings because they've all been talked about today and in other previous meetings. So for those reasons, I feel this petition should not be recommended. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Randy Johnson, 3817 Greenwood Road, Greenwood. You know, the whole time we've been talking here, and I'll tell you what, you got quite a crowd here, and I hope everybody's listening. And I don't mean that as a slam. I'm just saying, if I was the petitioner and I had this many people against me, I would just say, you know what, I think I'm done. I'm going to go home. Have a nice day. This thing has been painted as a small slaughterhouse, okay? A lot of things don't make sense, okay? If this gets approved, he can do whatever he wants. He can slaughter 1,000 chickens a day. He can slaughter as many pigs as he wants. He can slaughter whatever. I guarantee he's not going to be at 4 people, okay? I visited a slaughterhouse, probably the one he takes his chickens to, and walked that place. It stinks. There's feathers all over the place. There's neighbors complaining all the time, he told me. The USD inspectors. It's awesome he's having a USD inspector. They don't train, like was said earlier. All they do is condemn an animal. They'll make sure it meets what happens, okay? If it's something wrong with the animal, it's condemned, that animal has to go somewhere. Maybe it's going in with the rest of the stuff, whatever. But I did visit the place and tried to get a perspective of what this will be like. Okay? It's not nice. You know, like there's a stigma about it too. USD inspectors, that really sounds great, but guess what? USD inspectors are free. If you keep them in an 8-hour day, they're free to the slaughterhouse. So it's not a big hardship to go from 50 chickens to so many, you know, whatever. The place I visited easily does 1,000 a day. And they can do up to 2,000 a day, and their facility is smaller than his proposed facility. So I'm standing up here more for my neighbors than myself. I live in the proximity, but they live right next door. And I'm here for myself, but I'm there for them. I'm not just going to sit by. If I got neighbors that are, this really affects them, and it's affect my property value too, but I just got to say something. But this is painted as a small project. This thing's going to blow up, I guarantee. Very easily could go to 1,000 chickens a day, easily, or more. And the concerns people have with cemeteries, traffic, easement, safety. Anyway, I oppose it. You might know.
Okay, we have to be out of this building in 20 minutes, so we want to, this is the last person finishing up, looks like. Okay.
I don't want to be the last person. Andrea Zinga, 9345 Ryan Court, Wonder Lake. I'm finishing Dave's presentation for him, and it's very short. The code book the county adopted for building plan review and construction is the International Building Code, IBC. IBC Section 3062 defines food processing of this size as F1, moderate hazard factory. This is a factory, industrial. It does not belong as a conditional use on ag zoning. I still have time, and I have never given up time at a microphone before. I would like to go over just some glittering generalities, if you
Please,
will.
it's got to be something that someone hasn't mentioned already.
Oh, it will.
Okay.
I think that not only would this be a detriment to our community, which, as many people have said, was there first, I think that the county would be opening a Pandora's box by approving this petition. If you research slaughterhouses or even read about them casually, you will see that the rules and regulations are pretty hazy. And therefore, I think we could bring all kinds of people down on our heads as a county, OSHA, or the USDA, or I don't know who all, the EPA, who knows? And it could become a really costly project to McHenry County. Now, when we moved to McHenry County and moved to Deer Path 12 years ago, we loved it because it's so agricultural. And as you've heard, I don't think anybody objects to the use of that land as agriculture, for agriculture. But we loved the conservation emphasis. And I'm so surprised that there hasn't been more said about Nippersink, which is the largest tributary to the Fox River, and the potential damage from this. We are all on wells. The wind is from the south. I mean, nothing about this really works. So it seems to me that when 800 people have signed a petition saying they really do not want it, it is the job of government, first and foremost, ahead of economic development, ahead of supporting agriculture, to protect the people. So if we have one person who wants to make all sorts of changes and adaptations and variances just to do what he wants to do with no particular benefit that anyone can see to the county, and you have 800 people whose future in their homes and their children is in jeopardy, there doesn't seem to be it doesn't seem to me to be in question, but I'm not the board. I appreciate so much, as we all do, what all of you have done.
time
Thank
is
you.
up.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Okay.
I'll make this quick.
Is it something new?
I believe it is. It kind of goes off of what Renee was saying.
We have to be out of this building. We have to schedule a new date. All these sorts of things need to be done.
I can be done in a minute and a half.
Okay, I'm going to give you a minute and a half.
Fair enough. My name is Jacob Traum. I live at 9433 Rachel Drive.
And you're the last speaker.
Yes. As you guys can all tell, I love to eat. As a matter of fact, no offense to Sergey, but I would never buy any of his meat because of how this whole thing has gone. I do support local farmers. I go to another farm stand down on Thompson. However, that being said, the circle on the subject property, I actually drew a circle around that subject property that was a mile wide. There's approximately 500 homes in that 1 mile radius. And if you average out the property values at about $300,000 a house, because Highland Shores is less expensive than Deer Path or Woods Creek, you're talking approximately $17 million in lost value when you assume 10% loss in value of their house. My house is...
Property values have been covered, sir.
I understand that. But from a taxing body, it could be a loss of up to $500,000 for the county. $500,000 in tax revenue. I'm just saying that there's actual numbers here. It's not just a random thing. But it's $500,000 that goes away from the county. I'm not seeing that from Mr.
Your time is up.
From the petitioner. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have to continue this hearing for closing arguments and voting. It looks like maybe the 8th?
January 8th was what I was going to suggest.
Okay. Is everybody on the board available on January 8th? That's a Thursday? Are you? Yes, I am.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so this meeting will be continued only for closing arguments, and for the board voting will happen on Thursday, January 8th, but also I would like an opinion from the state's attorney on what a parcel is. If you would follow through on that. Okay, and that will be considered only for the voting meeting.
stance on a parcel at present?
Either way.
We have- So, Adam Wallen, Director of Planning and Development. The Unified Development Ordinance does define a parcel, an area of land described by meets and bounds or by division making reference to the original Government Public Land Survey. This parcel is defined by the meets and bounds. That 1.044 acres is the conditional use area. That's defined by meets and bounds. So that's the parcel in which the slaughterhouse operation can occur. It cannot occur anywhere else besides that pink square. So, and that's where we measure it from when we do our compliance verification. If that makes sense? Or do you
Yeah,
want me to
would you
clarify?
just confirm with the state's attorney?
I'll
that-
confirm with them as well.
Okay,
Yep,
okay, thank you.
no problem.
So at this time, this meeting is continued to January 8th at 1:30 in this same room. Yes, we will vote at that time as well.
Merry Christmas.